What's good, YouTube? Adriannthakidd back with a bombshell video, you know what I'm saying? Film theory with SpongeBob adopted, you know what I'm saying? SpongeBob SquarePants, bro. Show everybody grew up watching. What's he adopted, bro? This man's father is a cookie. Like dog, bro. And his mom, she's weird. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was adopted. Let's get it. I don't know what I'm talking
Are
about.
you ready, kids?
Who the heck is that?
I can't hear you.
No.
Maybe now?
I said no.
Several bad puns later.
Who's
Ready,
mom? Who's
please?
kid got mad, bro?
Okay, then let's just start the episode.
Oh. Hey. Adriannthakidd and I'm lit. Freestyling key. Did it. But the intro kind of fire. Oh yeah.
Hello, Internet.
Yeah, that's fire.
Welcome to Film Theory, the show that may
What's
not
goody?
be absorbent or yellow, but is definitely full of holes. Now, as much as I love exposing the dark, sinister
I need to
side
watch
of
that.
innocent cartoons, SpongeBob
I think I
doesn't
watched that.
seem like it's hiding that many skeletons in its closet. I mean, SpongeBob is a hardworking employee who makes enough to provide for himself with a career that he enjoys, and unlike all those orphaned Disney characters, has two loving parents. Wait,
Look,
those
bro. His father is a potato chip and his mother is a cookie. Isn't his grandma a
are his
cookie too?
parents?
That's just not
Yeah,
right, bro.
Those are his parents.
Nah,
And no,
bro,
he
you're not
isn't
the
son of
father, I ain't
two
gonna lie.
cookies. Unlike the bright yellow and rectangular SpongeBob, Harold and Margaret SquarePants had their appearance designed after
Harold and
real-life sea
Margaret.
sponges. Given that the show's creator, Stephen Hillenburg, is a marine biologist, it's a cool nod to the real-life science
Oh,
of undersea
that makes sense, or
creatures.
like why he got the knowledge of the
But
animals.
having SpongeBob look so different from his parents presents this world with some real problems. Specifically,
Harold, you're not
whether
the father.
we can be sure that SpongeBob's parents are actually his parents. In other words, the question we're answering today, was SpongeBob actually adopted? Now, I already hear some of you down in the comments section click-clacking away saying, MatPat, of course he
I
can't
really don't
be
know.
adopted. In the episode Truth or Square, we clearly see SpongeBob
Whoa.
in Margaret SquarePants' womb eating Krabby Patties.
Okay, but
To
that
which I
doesn't mean
respond,
that
are
he's the
you
father,
even
though.
listening to
You know
yourself?
what I'm saying?
Seriously, if you watch that episode, it's clear that this flashback scene is something that takes place inside SpongeBob's head. The idea that SpongeBob would have actual memories dating back to before he was born is just as ridiculous as the idea that he would be chomping on Krabby Patties inside his mother's
Facts.
womb, which is even less ridiculous than the fact that he's inside his mother's womb at all, mainly because sponges don't have wombs.
Oh.
Sponge larvae grow and develop outside and apart from their mothers after attaching to an underwater surface like a rock.
What the
So
heck?
this is not a flashback at all. This is
Yo,
mothers after attaching to an underwater surface like a rock.
The Rock lives underwater?
So this is
I thought he
not
lived
a
in California.
flashback at all. This is SpongeBob's imagination hard at work. Imagination. Cue that SpongeBob meme thing.
Imagination.
This is like, what, number 5, and we're still on page 1? Good thing I front-loaded these things.
Bro,
Which
don't
means
tell
that
me
the
you
only
read
way we're
off
gonna
of
prove
notes, bro.
SpongeBob's lineage for
That's too
sure
much
is
work.
to look at his family genetics. Now, it
How'd you go
probably
off
goes
the,
without saying that sea
off the
sponges
small
are
dome
in
I
no
have?
way related to the bright yellow kitchen sponges that form the basis of SpongeBob's design. Those things are just a bunch of cut and formed plastic polymers. So in real life, there's no way that two sea sponges looking like this would produce something looking like SpongeBob.
That's what I'm
But
saying, bro.
we can still
Whoa!
use the principles of genetics and
Hey,
apply
yo,
them
I'ma
to
have
the
to blur
rules
that out,
established
bro.
within the Bikini Bottom verse to determine the probability of SpongeBob being adopted. So let's do like Maury Povich and answer the question, are you the father? And
I really don't
mother,
think so.
Equal opportunity parent.
She looked like SpongeBob,
Basics of
so
sponge
I give Shorty a
reproduction, we
little
need to
pass.
start by
You know what I'm
asking,
saying?
do
Little pass.
sponges even have fathers and mothers? The answer is yes. Sort of. You see, sponges are just like plants, humans, and most other animals.
What type of
They
plant is that?
reproduce sexually. But that doesn't mean you're gonna be traumatized by watching two brown blobs rolling around.
I'm not
together
gonna lie,
down
I
in
don't
the
wanna watch no
seabed.
sponge
Get
have
it?
sex. Oh, that's
Seabed.
weird.
Heyo. That's a very safe for advertisers joke. The only requirement of sexual reproduction is that offspring be formed by the fusion of two different reproductive cells called gametes. One coming from the female, the egg, and one coming from the male,
The sperm. Alright,
Sponges
I
actually
know that.
reproduce works the same way plants do. Plants will release pollen, the male gametes, into the air in the hopes that they'll just land on the pistil of a compatible plant nearby and fertilize it. So if you have seasonal allergies, just
Don't they
know that
like
what's
spray they
making
cum into the
sneeze
water?
is plant
Or sperm, I meant.
Kinda gross when you actually think about it that way. Sea
And then
sponges
like
function in
the
a
females
similar
around
way.
it just
One sponge releases
fertilize
sperm cells
and
into
get
the
pregnant.
water, which are then absorbed by another sponge to fertilize its egg.
Yeah.
Except there's a catch.
I forgot what it's
Sponges
called.
don't come in male and female varieties. Any sea sponge has the ability to produce both types of gametes. So while each sponge does have two parents,
So they can
a
both
mother
collect
sponge a
and
father
release
sponge,
sperm?
it's absolutely possible for a single sponge to be both a father to some baby sponges and a mother to other baby sponges. Which means it's gonna be one awkward birds and bees talk with our poorest friend SpongeBob.
He's like, look,
over
I'm your
here.
father
Well,
and I'm your mother.
SpongeBob, sometimes a
Yo,
mommy sponge just wants
she
to be a
could be
daddy
low-key.
sponge too. But in all seriousness, this flexible parenting, for lack of a better term, makes SpongeBob adopting the mother role in the episode Rockabye Bivalve actually make a lot more sense. So yeah, sponges do.
Bro, SpongeBob was so pressed. That man had beef with Patrick because Patrick was being a deadbeat dad. That man was like, I gotta be a dad and a mom. Makes sense.
Have a father and a mother.
It's crazy
each of
how-
which
how
contribute
they freaking
genetically to their
incorporated that.
offspring. So we'd expect that the offspring DNA would show the same traits as their parents, much in the same way that humans tend to resemble their parents when it comes to things like hair color, eye color, and face shape.
Yeah.
But then genetically, is it possible that these produced this? Well, let's put our 6th grade science skills to the test.
Oh, boy.
Let's see here.
Don't do
The
that. That was 6
mitochondria
years
is
ago.
the powerhouse of the cell. That's the wrong
Mitochondria.
chapter. Mendelian reproduction, pea pods. Ah, yeah, there we go.
40
Our features
45.
are determined by genes, sequences of DNA that encode for
Genotypes,
specific traits,
phenotypes,
and each
you
gene
know what I'm
comes
saying?
in various
Punnett squares,
alleles.
you know what I'm saying?
So, for instance, in the Bikini Bottom universe, you could say that sponges have 2 different alleles for body shape. One allele for
Dominant,
square pantsness, and one allele for
recessive.
round pantsness. The same could apply to sponge color. One allele would be for brown, sea spongy color, and another allele would be for bright yellow. But in order to explain how 2 round brown parents could have a square yellow child like SpongeBob, we have to look at the relative strength of those alleles.
Facts.
Again, think back to 6th grade. Certain alleles are
Yo, I
dominant,
remember them,
while
bro.
others
They
are
used to be all up in the
recessive.
bathroom.
Unfortunately, a lot of the examples in humans that you were taught in 6th grade, like whether you're right-handed or left-handed or whether you can roll your tongue or not, have been disproven. They are now lies. They're not just simple dominant recessive relationships anymore. So that kind
I'm
of
so
left me with a
tired.
pickle Rick about what example I would use to briefly explain this concept until I stumbled across this new piece of research. You know what human trait has been discovered to be dominant?
Brown
Having
hair?
6 fingers.
What?
Yeah, old Sixer from Gravity Falls is in the dominant category of dactylness. That's how many fingers you have. Yeah, 6 fingers is dominant over 5. I like
What?
quadruple check.
Dang, I
but
did- I-
apparently
I
it's a
didn't know
thing.
that.
So let's map out these alleles the old-fashioned way using a Punnett square. Capital letters for dominant traits and lowercase for recessive. So taking the finger example, a gene represented by capital F would have inherited the dominant allele from both parents and would show 6 fingers. A gene represented
Bro,
by
I high-key
lowercase
wish
f,
I had
lowercase
6
f
fingers.
would have inherited the recessive
I'd be
allele
flicking you
from
off for
both
2
parents
fingers.
and would only have 5 fingers. And a gene represented by capital
You could
F,
do so much
lowercase
stuff
f
with-
would have
with-
inherited
with-
the dominant
with-
trait
with-
from
with-
one
with 6
parent and the
fingers.
recessive trait from the other parent, which would still express the dominant trait of 6 fingers, but would carry the potential to have kids who have 5 fingers. And if you're ignoring all of this and still wondering how 6-fingerness is dominant and how more humans don't have all those extra digits, well, I'll just leave that one for you to debate in the comments, or research yourself. Anyway, enough about large-handed humans. The only way for SpongeBob's round brown parents to have a yellow square son would be for roundness and brownness to be the dominant traits of sponges in Bikini Bottom. That would allow them to carry the recessive alleles for both yellowness and squareness, but still express something different.
Facts.
So let's map out square pantsness in a Punnett square, with big R being roundness and
This man
small
really
r
going
being
into detail, bro.
squareness. By
I
doing
respect
that, we
it.
see that there are actually 4 possibilities here. Big R, big R, big R, little r, big R, little r, and
Little r,
little r,
little
little
r.
r. Big R, big R, and big R, little r would both show up as the dominant trait of
Yeah.
roundness, meaning that SpongeBob has to be a little r, which is only one of the 4 possibilities, so a 1 in 4 chance of that happening. And
Hey.
that's just for him being square. SpongeBob would have to have 2 recessive alleles to be yellow as well. That is the only way
Dang,
that
so this man
SpongeBob
went
wouldn't
1/4,
be
1/4.
adopted in
I
this
feel him.
scenario. So it's definitely possible, but are these genetic gymnastics really what's going on here? To double check, we need to see SpongeBob's parents and grandparents. Unfortunately, we can
Okay.
only look at his father's
Can't
side.
you see his
Since
grandma?
his mother's half of the family, the Bubble Bottoms have been surprisingly ignored across the 11 seasons of the show. On Harold's side, though,
Yeah,
we see Grandma
I know this lady.
SquarePants as another round
And people, I see
brown
Shorty
sponge,
always
which
be
makes
making
sense,
cookies and
and
stuff.
Grandpa SquarePants as a yellow square, recessive, just like his grandson. So running those two through a Punnett square, you get a 50-50 split on the kids. Half will be round, carrying both a dominant and recessive allele, while the other half are totally recessive square.
So you
Also,
got a
half will be
50-50
brown,
chance.
again carrying the dominant recessive allele, and the other 50% will be yellow, totally recessive. And that is exactly what we see play out in the family tree. SpongeBob's uncles show the exact same
I forgot about,
mix.
bro.
Sherm is a yellow square, and Blue is a round brown blob. So everything seems to be lining up in our genetic analysis. The science shows that SpongeBob isn't adopted.
Dang.
But there is one last problem here. The
That's tough.
actual odds of all this happening. For parents expressing two dominant traits like Harold and Margaret to have a child expressing two recessive traits like SpongeBob, the odds are incredibly low. It's actually 1 in 16, which isn't a whole lot. Probability would suggest that Harold and Margaret being SpongeBob's parents, well, yes, plausible, is actually
But
highly
those are two old
unlikely
people
to
names for
happen.
Harold and Margaret.
However, when you look
I ain't gonna lie.
across the Spongeverse, there's one final genetic quirk playing out in SpongeBob's favor. Sponge color and sponge shape seem to be inherited together. Looking across the SpongeBob family tree, you never
Facts.
see a round yellow sponge on the show. Never. You also never see a square brown sponge. Dating
Facts.
all the way back to
Well, hold
prehistoric,
on.
you also never see a square brown sponge.
Okay, I'm tripping. Why is his dad black?
Dating all the way back to prehistoric times with primitive sponge and sponge gar. What that tells me is that the traits are genetically linked, that the genes dictating these two individual traits are close enough on the chromosome that getting one most often results in you getting the other. Now, there's an entire field of study dedicated to this called genetic mapping. But
Bro,
the
this is
TLDR
not
of
science
all of
class,
this
I ain't
is
gonna
that it
lie.
would make the odds of Harold and
I'm finna
Margaret
log
having
out
a
and go to
child like
sleep.
SpongeBob much closer to that 25% the Punnett square reveal, which means that it's much more likely in the realm of believable possibility. SpongeBob isn't adopted. At the beginning of the episode, I gave the series creator Steven Hillenburg a lot of credit for bringing a marine biologist's expertise into the world of this goofy kid
Facts.
show. But maybe I didn't give him
That's really
enough
creative.
credit, because in the end,
I'm taking marine
SpongeBob
biology
might
right now,
look
matter of fact.
nothing like his parents, but it doesn't change the fact that when you actually examine the genetics of the SpongeBob family tree, all of it holds up. As improbable as this chain might look at first glance, basic genetic science says that our buddy SpongeBob shares a genetic link to everyone in it, even if his parents do look like two cookies. But hey, that's just a theory.
A film theory.
And cut.
Alright, man. Hey, he said it here first. SpongeBob may not be adopted after all, you know what I'm saying? Even though his parents are cookies, you know what I'm saying? And his grandma be making cookies, you know what I'm saying? Hey man, comment down below what y'all thought about that one, you know what I'm saying, bro? Came at y'all with another science lesson, bro. Adriantthakidd, best science teacher out in the nation, you know what I'm saying, man? Ain't nobody messing with me, man. Adriantthakidd, you know what I'm saying?